Hi guys, welcome to Take 254. I'm your host Sybil, and this is going to be a spoiler review of episodes 5 through 7 of Netflix's Love is Blind season 5. So we left off with UCHE talking to a teleprompter telling him that Aliyah has left. They were still in the pods. So we pick up right where we left off. UCHE asks the teleprompter voice to tell him like, why did Aliyah leave? He's like, I don't know. So he asks to talk to her on the phone. And when they have the conversation on the phone, Uche is clearly upset about her leaving, not explaining anything to him, not even leaving him a note. He's angry, and that conversation doesn't end well. He's all like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to have your number, whatever, whatever. So it ends badly between Uche and Aliyah over the phone. Then we go into Milton and Lydia. They have their reveal and engagement. So Milton and Lydia, like this couple, when they met, there was so much there was so much affection from Milton. It was even making me go like, wow, Milton, calm down. Like in all these seasons and all the reveals we've had so far, we've never seen this much affection. Like they were making out so much, like the cameraman had to pan out because it was kind of getting uncomfortable. It's like we need to get these to a room. So clearly both Milton and Lydia were very attracted to each other and happy with how the other looked. So that went well, their meeting and their engagement. And Milton is really tall. Like when they met, Lydia points that out to him, like, how tall are you? And he says he's 6'7". So Milton is really tall. They have this huge height difference going on because Lydia is really short. He's happy with how she looks. She's happy with how he looks. And they both can't keep their hands off each other. And they really need to get on a plane and get to the pre-honeymoon as quickly as they can. And that's what happens. So all the engaged couples, we only have three this season because Uche and Aliyah didn't work out because Aliyah left because of the whole Uche and Lydia drama, that whole love triangle that was going on in the pod. So she left. And we also had Chris and what Johnny. They didn't work out because Chris decided to opt out of being Johnny's second choice after she had gotten dumped by Izzy. So they didn't work out. So we only have three couples. That's Lydia and Milton going to the pre-honeymoon phase, JP and Morgan, who were the couple that I thought was going to be the boring couple this season that we could root for, but we'll get into that later in the review. And we had Izzy and Stacy. They go on to the honeymoon stage. And so let's get into JP and Morgan. So the honeymoon stage, episodes 5 and 6, is mainly focusing on these couples, these three couples in the honeymoon. Milton and Lydia seem to be getting along just fine, especially with the physical. They're doing well. They do joke a lot with each other about the age thing and the height difference and little things like that. Especially Lydia, she keeps harping on this, age difference that they have going on. But I like Milton holds himself, he holds it down, like he's giving pushback. They have this like trolling, jokey vibe to them. But so far, shockingly, they seem to be the strongest couple this five through episode 7. They seem to be the strongest couple and getting along the best. And Izzy and Johnny, the two of them also, like they're getting along well. He's saying how he feels like he's with his best friend. So those two are getting along. So in the honeymoon stages, the couple that brought drama to us, because there were only three couples, is JP and Morgan. So shockingly, when they make it to the honeymoon stage, JP just shuts down. He's not talking to Morgan at all. Morgan is like trying to make conversation with him, and it's like she's pulling teeth, and he just gives this one word answers. Like it's so weird, like how he's just switched up on her. We thought these two would be the safe couple, the couple that will make it all the way, the couple that we could all root for, if we don't have anyone else to root for, because the other couples are just a mess and there's so much drama. But they were the ones who are actually bringing in drama in this pre-honeymoon, because the other couples, they look like they were having the time of their lives when all the couples met up. in the pre-honeymoon, you know, they have that meeting of all the couples. Everyone gets to see each other from the pods. The other couples, you have Izzy and Johnny just hugging and frolicking in the ocean. We have Morgan, not Morgan. We have Milton and Stacy, not Stacy, Milton and Lydia just hugging and playing like they're having the time of their lives. And then you just have JP and Morgan just standing side by side, not talking, looking around awkwardly. And it comes to a head in episode 6 where Morgan asks JP, okay, so I've been trying to make conversation with you. What's going on? And then now all of a sudden, JP has a lot to say. He starts talking about how she wears too much makeup and he prefers her without makeup, and they get into this whole back and forth about the whole makeup thing, and that's why he's been shutting down. But she's like, if it was this much of an issue, why didn't you bring this up earlier? Like, and I don't have to change, you know, what I do. Wearing makeup is not the reason, cannot be the reason why you have been keeping quiet and refusing to make conversation with me for 3 whole days. And now we're going into day 4 without you making conversation and trying to pull, you know, pull your weight in the emotional labor of making this into an actual relationship, which can turn into a marriage. So they argue about it, and she ends up like saying, okay, I'm gonna sleep in another room. She takes her stuff, goes off. They hug it out because they don't want to go to bed angry with each other. So they end on a, you know, neutral note. But yeah, so I almost feel like JP was using the whole makeup thing as a cop out. Whatever it is, like when they had their reveal, it was awkward. Morgan did talk like she was not that attracted to JP, but she seemed to be trying to make it work because of the emotional connection. Whatever it is with Morgan, I mean, with JP, whether he wasn't attracted to Morgan physically or whatever it was, he just, when he saw Morgan during the whole pre-honeymoon phase, it's like he was just not invested at all, and he was not even trying. He was not trying to talk to her. He was not being affectionate. When she was bringing up conversation, he was only giving one word answers, or he would echo what she says. It's just so weird. And he would just stare at her awkwardly. He was not even smiling, not even laughing. Like, it was just so weird. Even when they were in the pool in episode 5, they were in the pool at one point swimming with each other and trying to like kiss and be affectionate. He was like pecking her, like like he was kissing her in such a weird way, like he, like it's almost like he didn't want to. It was just awkward. And I did notice during the pod stage between JP and Morgan, he was also quiet then. So I kept wondering, is it just how the producers have edited it? Because they were kind of like the boring safe couple, or so we thought. So they didn't just spend so much time on them because there was more drama coming from all these other contestants. So they didn't show as much of their connection in the pods and the conversations they had going. But it seems like even in the pods, the two of them didn't have much to talk about. And they also made a mistake of locking it really early. Like, it's almost like they met and they didn't give each other chances to date other people and form other connections. It's almost like they locked in on each other very early and just decided we're going to get engaged and we're going to do this whole thing, only to meet each other in the pre-honeymoon phase and spend time with each other and find out that there's nothing there. There's no connection. There's no spark. And I'm proud of Morgan, because after the whole fight about the makeup thing, the next day she basically ends it. So we're down to 2 couples. She ends it at the pre-honeymoon phase, and you know, JP doesn't have anything to say except to just echo what she's saying. She's like, we should end this. He doesn't even try to convince her or give any pushback or try to even say, okay, I'll try better. He's just like, yeah, let's just end this. So we're down to 2 couples, Lydia and Milton, and Stacy and Izzy, who end up going on to that whole phase where they live in the apartments for like 3 weeks before they end up getting married. So episode 6, we have Izzy, he and Stacy, they go to Stacy's home and they're driving in Stacy's car. Like, Stacy has coins. She has a nice home. She has a nice car. And when they pull up to her neighborhood, her driveway, you can just see the excitement in Izzy's face. Like, he's like, yes, this is going to be my life. I'm going to be a stay-at-home house husband. Like, he's already talking like they're married and this is his home. Oh, this is going to be a closet. Oh, he's already giving his input on, like, she's fixing up the house. When they go in there, you can see they're still doing some renovations in the house, and she's explaining how she wants to open up a wall there. She wants to put in a couch here. And he's already giving his input, like this is his home. And like he pays rent and bills around there. So you can really see that Izzy is so excited about Stacy's money and place, and they have this money conversation where Stacy's just like, yes, I have money, but I still expect, the guy to pay for trips and dinners. And you can just see Izzy sweating. He looks worried, like, why should I have to do that? Let's do the whole 50-50. So we have this whole debate about the whole 50-50 or versus the guy paying for everything. But it's like, if Stacy has money, why does she need him to pay for everything? But I guess where Stacy was coming from is that she just wants, even though she has her own and she comes from money, like we also find out later when they get to meet her parents, her dad comes from money also. They're moneyed up. Even though she has her own and she has money, she still wants to feel like the guy she's with is making an effort to pull his weight and impress her and do things for her. So that's where Stacy's coming from. And Izzy's just like, I want to do the whole 50-50 thing. Or even better still, I want to be the one who's kept. I want to be the kept husband. I want to be a stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home husband, and let you take care of everything. At least that's the impression I'm getting from Izzy. So yeah, then after that, we end with UCHE and Aaliyah meeting up in episode 6. So UCHE and Aaliyah, they decide to have a meetup, and that's where we leave off in episode 6. So episode 7 just picks up right where we left off with UCHE and Aaliyah meeting up, and basically it's like, what was the point of this meetup? For them to just break up in front of the audience, for UCHE to get his lick back, for Aaliyah just running off on him on the pods? I don't know. So basically, they end the whole thing. And then UCHE is, well, I was getting what UCHE was saying, because it's like Aaliyah, she's kind of an undecided person too. She friended him, then unfriended him. She called him, then she blocks him. So she's also giving this mixed signals. She doesn't do a good job of communicating. She clearly has problems like dealing with conflict. And when things get hard, it seems like her strategy has been to run away, run away. So I got where Uchi was coming from with wanting to end things and seeing that it was not worth it to pursue anything, since she just runs away and she gives mixed signals, and it seems like she doesn't do a good job when things get hard of being able to confront issues and work through things together. So I was with Uche with wanting to end things, and the explanation he gave with wanting to end things. So they are done. Then we have Milton and Lydia. They go over to meet Lydia's mom. This meeting overall goes well. It's Lydia's mom and older brother, and they have the kids discussion. And Milton says he'd like to have 3 kids, two biological, 1 adopted. They laugh about it. So that meeting goes well all in all. Then we have Izzy going over to Stacy's dad to meet her dad and her sisters, and they pull up to Stacy's dad's home, and it's very fancy. You can see they have money. And I also like the conversation that Stacy's dad and Izzy had on one, where he's just talking about, Stacy is used to certain things, she's used to a certain lifestyle. Yes, with you, I've never seen her be this emotional, this invested before, but still the reality is she is this type of lady. She is this type, she's in this financial bracket, and can you meet that? And that's the conversation they have. They ask him about his career. He obviously tells them that he's not coming from money. He just left a previous job and he just got into another job in an insurance company, but he had to leave that to participate in Love is Blind. So his whole work situation and finance situation seems to be a bit up in the air. But all in all, the meeting between Stacy's family and Izzy seems to go well. I really liked how the families were asking these hard questions. Like, you could see that they were taking this thing seriously. They weren't just like putting a front for the camera, just acting like, oh, this is normal. They were asking about kids. They were asking about, okay, career. They're asking about lifestyles, money, where do you guys see yourself in 5, 10 years? So I like the questioning and the meetings of the families this season. I thought it went well. Then we have the castmates all coming together. Usually we have at some point Love is Blind, all the cast come together, so they come together. And then we see Izzy sees Johnny for the first time, and he pulls her aside to. So Izzy has this thing where he likes to pull these women that he had some kind of connection with in the pods. He did that to Lydia back in episode 5 when they saw each other in the pre-honeymoon phase when all the couples get together. He pulled Lydia aside. No one asked for this. Lydia did not want any closure. She did not have any residual feelings for him, but he just pulled her to the side and started explaining a lot of unnecessary things about why he didn't pick her. And you could just see Lydia was zoning out because he kept on talking and talking. It seems like Izzy is these people who want to be wanted, and he also wants something that he can't have. When someone is into him, it's almost like he loses interest. And then when they're no longer into him, he wants to chase them and get them back into him. And then he dumps them and runs away. He seems to like to play this whole cat and mouse game with people. Like with Lydia, he just out of the blue goes and starts talking at her about why he didn't choose her, when you can clearly see that Lydia is no longer thinking about him. She moved on. She's happy with Milton, but he's the one who is still holding on to this idea that, oh, he has some unresolved closure that he owes Lydia or himself about the brief interaction they had in the pods. And he does the same thing here in episode 7 with Johnny. He pulls her to the side to ask her why she lied about what she said to the pod in the pods to her and to him and Chris. So he just wants closure about that. It doesn't go well, and Johnny's just like, dude, you're the one who pulled me over. I didn't need any closure. I'm happy with Chris now. Oh, so Chris and Johnny are actually dating. They met at the airport and hashed it out, and they're now boyfriend and girlfriend. So they come together in this whole castmate meetup as boyfriend and girlfriend, and Izzy is just, he looks so bothered and shaken up about this whole thing, and he starts getting messy. He pulls Stacy to the side and he's like, oh, I'm so glad I chose you. And she's kind of upset about that too. Like, why did you need to meet Johnny to be happy about the choice you made? You should have just been happy with that regardless. So it's just a weird tension going on between Johnny, Izzy, and Stacy there. I mean, now Stacy knows how Johnny was talking badly about her, and when they were in the pod stage, because they were both into the same guy. So she's not a fan of Johnny, obviously, because she was talking badly about her, which is true. It was weird, the energy that Johnny had towards Stacy in the pod stage. But yeah, overall, I would say that it seems that Izzy and Stacy, they're gonna have, the money thing is gonna be more and more of an issue. I don't know how they'll overcome that. And also Izzy, as I said, he does have F-boy energy, and he seems to be one of these people who want people who don't want him. When he has something, it's like he doesn't want it. When someone else has something, like if he wanted a girl and he's the one who broke it off and she moves on, it's like he can never get over like people being able to move. Like if you dump someone and they move on, why should you care? You're the one who left them. Like that's what Izzy did to Lydia, that's what Izzy did to Johnny. But he's like these people who want someone to constantly just be on him and want him, and it's like he can't get over the fact that you can just move on. He's a bit too full of himself, I think. And he's also a drama king. He likes stirring up drama, is a bit gossipy. Like that whole, he's stirring the pot between Johnny and Chris and Stacy. I didn't like that. Made him look a bit funny in the light too. But who I really want to get into is UCHE. So UCHE and Lydia also have a fight because UCHE apparently, okay. So I'm gonna be alone on this on the internet. I don't hate UCHE about as much as the rest of the internet seem to do. The mistake I think UCHE made was coming onto reality TV to begin with. So UCHE, when it comes to men who are not white who participate in these kind of shows, generally speaking, they seem to come onto these shows like Love is Blind and whatever, all these dating shows, to get access to women who are different from them, women who maybe in their regular life they wouldn't have access to. Like, for example, in season 4, Kwame. In real life, maybe Kwame, without a show like Love is Blind, he wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to interact with women like Chelsea, who he ended up marrying, and whatever drama he had in the pods with Chelsea and what was that other girl, Irina's friend? I can't remember their names, but it seems like a lot of men of color who come onto these shows, they do it to get access to white women, exoticals, and the rest. Uche doesn't seem to have that problem. Uche seems to, in his regular life, have access to these women already. So what Uche is a great lesson in the saying move in silence. Like Uche could have just been this guy who bags these exoticals that all these men want or seem to want in his private life. And when he got tired of doing that, picked a girl and got married and lived a great life. He's a good looking guy. He's relatively young. He's what, 33. He has a great job. And according to Lydia, he has a home. He has a Tesla. He's good in bed. Like, so he has a lot of good things working for him. And it's just like he couldn't just live well enough alone. He couldn't just be that guy in silence and bag his exoticals. And when he got tired of bagging his exoticals, picked a girl and gone on to be married and happy. It's like he wanted to show off to the world that he's that guy, that the Andrew Tates and the Kevin Samuels and the Fresh and Fits, like that high value man. He wanted to show off to the world like he's that guy. But the problem with Uche is that not only is he not self-aware, he's I think Uche is just naturally a boring and self-serious person. So he doesn't have the charisma and the personality for reality TV. So it's almost like coming onto this show has really messed up Uche's private life. I feel like Uche's dating life after this show will be worse than what it was before coming to this show. Because, as I said, a lot of men of color who go onto this show go to have access to the type of women that Uche was bagging in real life anyway. So you did not need to come on to Love is Blind or any of these other dating shows to get access to these women. You could have just been that guy, bagged these women, and when you got tired of doing whatever it was you were doing with these women, you could have just picked one from the roster you already had and made a wife out of her and moved on with your life. You did not have to come and show the world that you're this high value man, because that's what I feel like Uche was trying to do. He was trying to come in on this, I'm this high value man and I'm gonna pick this, but he doesn't have the personality to pull that off. And all he has done is just invited the world to judge him and put his mess out there for the whole world to see, when he had a really good thing going on for himself in his private life anyway. So now Uche has turned himself into a lightning rod for this women online, all this discourse, for people to just give him the lashings that are meant for the Andrew Tates and the Fresh and Fits. Now Uche is going to be the one, the scapegoat and the lightning rod for all of that, just because he couldn't live well enough alone. He couldn't just be happy being that guy who bags these exoticals in peace and just move in silence. Uche, your mistake was not moving in silence and not realizing that you are too self-serious and too boring to pull off being this high value man in the public eye. You were already that in private, and you should have just continued doing that. Whatever it was you were doing with these exoticals, whether you were cheating on them or switching them out like underwear day by day, none of us needed to know that, and you could have just continued doing that. But now I feel like a lot of women who you were bagging and who you were dating will now just not do it out of spite to kind of punish you again, as I said, because you are like that guy, the Andrew Tate, the manosphere guy now. It's like you're the lightning rod for all the lashings and the frustrations. All this discourse happens on the internet is now going to be put on you. And none of this had to happen, Uche. You already living that life. You did not need Netflix to get chicks like Lydia. Like whatever it is that's going on between Lydia and Uche, whether they were in a relationship or it was a situationship, whether he cheated on Lydia, again, we did not need, us the audience did not need to be privy to any of this. Because again, UCHE, if you are bagging chicks like Lydia in real life, in regular life, and generally speaking, men of color who go onto these shows go on there to get access to the Lydias and to the Stacys and whatever, you did not need Netflix or any of these dating shows. All you have done is just opened up your life for a lot of scrutiny. So I just think that was Uche's mistake, not moving in silence and not being self-aware to realize that he doesn't have the personality. He's too self-serious and too boring to pull off trying to be this public figure, high-value man, like being like the example of this high-value man who gets to bag all these chicks. Like, I feel like that's what Uche was trying to do coming onto this show, being like the high-value man on this show. But he just doesn't have the personality to pull that off. Yeah. And then with Lydia, I genuinely feel like Lydia was, these people who are desperate for love, and she found a good thing with Milton. And I'm rooting for them. They seem to have made it work somehow, despite the age difference, the cultural differences. They're the strongest couple. I really liked when Lydia met up with when she went over to Milton's apartment and met his friend, who is also a dork, a geek like him, and the conversation they were having, and how his friend was just talking up Milton, and how he was talking about how Milton is just so mature, and how he's been praising Lydia. Like, they're sweet together. So I'm rooting for Milton and Lydia right now. So those are my thoughts on episodes 5 through 7 of Netflix's season 5, Love is Blind. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the whole Uche Lydia situation, Uche and Aliyah, how that went about, and what you just think about, for example, Uche. Like, as I said, I don't hate Uche as much as the rest of the internet. I don't hate Uche at all. I think Uche's mistake was just coming on to Love is Blind or any Netflix show to begin with. Because as I said, a lot of men of color go onto this show like Abhishek to have access to white women, Asian women, exoticals who they wouldn't have otherwise interacted with in their real life. But if you're like Uche and you have this whole drama going on with Lydia, meaning that you already have access to these women in your regular life anyway, why just bring all that drama out into the world for the rest of the world to see? You could have just been that guy bagging these chicks, and when you got tired of bagging them, picked one of them and made a wife out of her. You did not need to come on to a public forum like this when you don't have the charisma and the personality for it, and just open yourself up to all this scrutiny. So that's the mistake I thought Uche made. He should have just moved in silence. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you.